Welcome to the next edition of the HP Discover podcast series. I'm Dana Gardner, Principal Analyst at Inter Arbor Solutions, your host and moderator for this ongoing discussion on IT innovation and how it's making an impact on people's lives. Our next Big Data and Information Governance Innovation case study highlights how the National Savings Bank in Malaysia has implemented a sweeping enterprise content management system project. We'll learn how this large community bank has slashed paper use, increased productivity, rationalized storage and documents, and cut security risks while adhering to compliance requirements. Here to walk us through the bank's journey to better information management is Elaine Bawi, the Senior Vice President in the Transformation Management Department at the National Savings Bank in Malaysia. Welcome, Elaine.
Hello, hi.
Tell me, what were the major drivers that led you to seek a comprehensive approach to enterprise content management? So what was the big driver for you?
Okay, we were trying to standardize a lot of our processes, in the bank, and as you know, bank itself, we use a lot of paper. There's a lot of documents flying around, and documents have to be couriered from one place over to our HQ for processing. We have 14 states all across Malaysia, and all these documents have to be couriered on a daily basis over to our HQ in Kuala Lumpur. So we're trying to see how we can shorten that process itself so that we can at least be able to give an answer to our customers in the shortest time possible. So by putting in an enterprise content management system, we were able to standardize a lot of the processes that involve paper, and then documents were able to be retrieved easily regardless of where the person is. And then in terms of processing time, we were able to shorten the processing time from 4 days to less than a day, because the documents are now scanned and then uploaded into the server, which is easily retrieved by anybody around Malaysia. So the whole objective of going into the enterprise content management service was very much to improve the entire customer experience and also to put in best practices involving processes as well as systems, so that ultimately what we want to achieve is to see how we can serve our customers better.
Right. Now, tell us a little bit about your bank. It's quite a distributed organization. There's lots of moving parts to it. I can understand why it would be a challenge to centralize all of your information.
Bank Simpanan Nasional, it's owned by the Ministry of Finance. We were incorporated in 1974. So we've just turned 40 years old as of December last year. Our objective is to promote and mobilize savings for the entire Malaysian. So we are especially set up by the Ministry of Finance to provide savings and banking opportunities to all Malaysians. Because we're a national bank, so we have branches all across Malaysia. We have 402 branches all across Malaysia, and these are serviced by our 6,800 employees. We have also what we call the agent banking. So we have 5,200 agents who are able to operate on behalf of the bank. BSN, as what we are normally known in Malaysia, we have 982 ATMs and 338 CDMs, and this is to serve more than 9.5 million customers. So in short, we are a diverse bank. We are the only bank in Malaysia where you can find us in the remotest parts of Malaysia. So that is why in terms of processing itself, before ECMS came in, it was very challenging as documents have to be couriered or have to be ferried from one place over to our central office. And because of it, a simple loan application, for instance, can take up to 4 to 5 days, before they can reach it. And because of that, it also creates a lot of challenges in trying to satisfy our customer, especially those applying for loans and they want to know the status of the loan application as soon as possible. Physical documents have to be stored, and then there's also issues in relation to the access of the physical documents itself. As we all know, real estate prices have gone up. So storing all these physical documents itself doesn't make sense, for the bank. So we're trying to see how we can also find a way to remove as many of these physical documents as possible. Yeah, and also to make the retrieval of the documents. Other than that, we're also trying to put in controls over to the access of the document itself. Like physical paper files can be lost, lost on transit, or they can even be lost, because misplaced or file automatically missing. Yeah. So what we wanted to do was to put in place a system whereby we're able to track the entire life cycle of the document. The moment the document is scanned, we are able to see the status of the document itself as well as the status of the application. Yeah, and then thereafter, the entire life cycle management of the document even is exposed. Yeah. So that's pretty much what we wanted to achieve from this whole exercise.
Great. I have to imagine too that not only do you get a centralized view and more information about each document much quicker, but I should think that there's a much better security, audit trail, and therefore compliance benefit.
Yes, definitely. There's also, like now we have better audit trail of the document movement. We have also better controls in terms of the versioning, like who put in what, whether it's a superseded copy, etc. And also we're able to put in we're able to roll out a consistent taxonomy for all documents. So whatever documents that goes into the into ECMS, they have to follow a certain methodology in taxonomy in terms of the naming, so that anybody in Malaysia, when they want to access a file, they are able to identify the file by just looking at the name of the file. And of course, because everything is in soft copy, and we have a backup in terms of the DR as well. So there's no issue in regards to if a document goes missing, or how do we access, how do we look for the supporting documents. So now with a proper DR, in soft copy and all that, we're able to retrieve the documents, even if the physical copy is.
Well, very good. Tell us, if you would, Alain, how you went about this. What were the primary technologies, processes, and skills that were required to make this happen?
The journey itself took us about 2 years. We explored with many vendors in the market to look at what were the available technology that was able to satisfy our requirements. So there were a lot of vendors providing document management systems, but we wanted a system that is on an enterprise basis, so that we are able to use the same system across the entire organization. So we went through a series of tenders, and then eventually, we decided to go with HP's autonomy and also the TRIM. Of course, there were many solutions that we looked at, but eventually the team, because it was a tender, it was an open tender, and and the evaluation team comprised a combination of business users as well as technical users. So based on the results of the scores, the users, as well as the technical users, were comfortable with the solution and the technology that was being provided by him. So, and then during the course of the implementation itself, the team were able to have better hands-on experience on the on the TRIM software as well as on the autonomy software itself, and they found that the software was very flexible. They were able to build build their own workflows together, and they were also able to put in a lot of controls, and a lot of the things were parameterized. So in terms of that, it makes usage easy as well as maintenance simple as well.
Now, when you go to a digital and managed system like this, you also get benefits for archive and backup, and perhaps even reduction in overall storage if you were doing it in an older infrastructure. Is there anything about the storage and backup and archive that also came to play in this?
definitely for all the documents, because we're a bank, all the documents, that we have, has to be backed up. We need to have like support. Previously, without the system, every document that we have, it has to be duplicated. So we have 2 files of each. So that makes retrieval and in terms of storage a challenge as well. So now with the soft copy, once the soft copy is in, we are able to make multiple copies if we want to. But because we have a DR in place, so we're able to replicate the files over to our DR. And now, in terms of archival, it is easier, because we have we will follow our standard, archiving policy. And when it comes to documents, when it comes to the end of the life cycle of the document itself, there are proper procedures to manage the expiry of the document, as well as the disposal of the hard copy itself. So now that we have the soft copy, we're able to track the entire movement. And when it comes to the expiry itself, there'll be notifications, that will remind the users that, this document is due for, disposal, at whatever period of time. So users can then prepare the necessary procedures, in regards to the disposal of the document. So with that, maintenance becomes easier because we do not need, to have somebody physically managing, the entire life cycle of the document, but we're leaving it to the system to tell us what action should be taken for that particular document itself.
Great. Let's look at some of the results, some of the payback that you've gotten as a result of your project. First, I suppose customer satisfaction is always important. What have you heard from the users, the customers, in terms of how they view this as an improvement, and then other metrics of success?
We have conducted some surveys, with the users, in regards to their, experience, when it comes to using the system. Initially, when the system was first rolled out, there were some challenges in terms of the user adoption because it was basically changing, the way they were used to. Yeah. And of course, because documents now are all submitted electronically, so that means physical processes that will have to be eliminated. Yeah. So what we did was, because there were some challenges, from the user side in regards to, the so-called job security, because things are now being replaced by the system itself. So what we could do was we were able to retrain some of these, users to other functions. So, for example, when a document comes in, once the document is scanned, it goes into the system. We need someone to physically, just eyeball the information. So previously, what someone was doing, in terms of preparing the documents for couriering, now his new role is basically to eyeball some of this information, to check the completeness as well as the completeness and the accuracy of the information. So because of this, we're able to see, the happier customers, customers in terms of the users, as they are able to see the benefit from using the system itself. Now, for sales agents, they are basically paid by commission. So the faster the loan is approved, the faster they will get the commission. So now with the system in place, we're able to see shorter turnaround time in terms of the processing. And because of this, the customers, are able to get an answer from the bank in the shortest time possible. And as such, the customer will then be able to decide if they want to, pick up the loan with the bank. So with all of this, we're able to shorten the turnaround time for the loan application, as well as the turnaround time for the commission payment, as well as the turnaround time, for the feedback back to the customer. Overall, in terms of the surveys, the 3 surveys that we have conducted in the bank itself, the results have been positive. we have seen a higher usage of the system, since it has been implemented. Now, on the customer side, based on the feedback that we received as well as the surveys that have been done with the customers, we also seen, that the customers are happier because they're able to get the answers from the bank sooner. Previously, we had a lot of drop in the customers because the time taken to revert back to them was longer. But now, if the application comes in, it's submitted today, the customer will be able to get a reply in less than 24 hours. So this has prompted, this has increased the customer's satisfaction in the bank itself.
Wonderful. Okay, thank you. Now, what about the future? What comes next? Does this capability that you put in place open up the possibility for other improvements in your infrastructure and documented information management, perhaps some sort of analysis capability or search and other higher order functions around business intelligence?
Moving forward, because in the during the implementation itself, the HP team helped us to build some of these applications, helped us to put in the applications for some of the departments. Yeah. But moving forward, we are rolling out all the other departments in the bank, all the back offices, and these are going to be done by the team, by our own team itself. So it shows the robustness of the system, that the team is able to, to pick up the knowledge of the system and then to roll it out. Now, with all this information that we have, we're also looking at what we call the so-called the analytics surrounding the data, the data that we're receiving. We're looking to see how we can further improve the customer's experience, looking at the based on the information that we have on the system itself. So things like, we're trying to shorten the entire processing time as much as possible. Now that we have better management and better information in regards to the processing time, we're also trying to see, like based on the information that we have, we're trying to see whether we are able to understand our users' behavior better, because sometimes for sales agents, they are quite smart in terms of playing around with their sales targets. Yeah, like whether it's going to be for this month or it's going to be for next month. So we're also trying to get a better understanding of our users' behavior through the information in ECMS itself, and also similarly for the customers, based on the customers itself, the analytics surrounding the customers and the information that's put through into the system. We're also trying to see whether we are able to come up with better products, and also better services to satisfy our customers' expectations.
All right. Just the last question, Elaine, if you have an opportunity to instruct someone who's starting out on a similar project, what lessons have you learned? What advice might you offer to those who are beginning a comprehensive enterprise content management system project?
Look at the bigger picture. Yeah. There's a lot of document management systems, but if you're looking for an enterprise content management system, you need to identify what your objectives are. If your objective is just to scan a document, then probably an enterprise content management system will not work. But if your objective is to look at improving the ROI, improving the entire customer experience, putting in better controls, on the document life cycle itself, then an enterprise content management system would work for you. Yeah. Also explore what is available in the market, in terms of the solutions, and get to know the vendors, the solution providers well, so that you have a better understanding of the technology, you have a better knowledge of the roadmap of the technology itself, so that you are then able to plan, your future plans, your 3-year plans or your 5-year business plans, based on the roadmap of the solution.
Well, wonderful. I'm afraid we'll have to leave it there. We've been learning about how the National Savings Bank in Malaysia has implemented a sweeping enterprise content management system. And so join me, please, in thanking our guests. We've been joined by Alain Boe, the Senior Vice President in the Transformation Management Department at the National Savings Bank in Malaysia. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
And I'd like to thank our audience as well for joining us for this Big Data and Information Governance Innovation Case Study discussion. I'm Dana Gardner, Principal Analyst at Inter Arbor Solutions, your host for this ongoing series of HP-sponsored discussions. Thanks again for joining, and come back next time.